Good evening. Chelsea's wait for their first title in half a century is almost over. Only mathematics stand in their way now, and footballers have never been any good at maths. We've got their game today, plus the other 6, so that would be 7 games we've got for you. Here to mark the performances are Alan Hansen and Peter Schmeichel. And it's at Stamford Bridge that we start for the visit of their neighbours Fulham. And for a golden anniversary, who better to invite than John Motson?
Exactly 50 years ago today, Saturday, April the 23rd, 1955, Chelsea beat Sheffield Wednesday here at Stamford Bridge to win the championship for the only time in their history. Now in their centenary year, they essentially need 4 points to win it again, and the form book doesn't suggest that Fulham can delay them. Their next-door neighbours have only ever won once at the Bridge in the top flight, and that was 41 years ago. For this Chelsea team, the Premiership title gets nearer and nearer. Chelsea's defence need just one more clean sheet to equal the Premiership record. Their attack need just 2 goals to make it 100 for the season in all competitions. Jose Mourinho makes one change from the Arsenal game. Robert Hoot replaces the injured William Gallas at left back, but they also welcome back on the bench Arjen Robben after a 14-game absence since he was injured at Blackburn. Fulham are still smarting from that penalty decision at Middlesbrough on Tuesday, which robbed them of 2 points that would have ensured their Premiership safety. Chris Coleman and his coach Steve Keane keep the same side. Andy Cole, Papa Bouba Diop and Sylvain Legvinski are all still injured. Alan Wiley is the referee, and Chelsea have already beaten Fulham twice this season, both games at Craven Cottage, 4-1 in the league and 2-1 in the Carling Cup quarter-final. Can Mourinho clinch an unusual hat-trick today? Chelsea can break here with Drogba. He's up against Zat Knight. Lampard, Duff let it run to Gudjohnsen. Duff again. He's taking on Moritz Volz. Oh, Drogba's there. Had to just lean backwards slightly to make contact with the header. Makelele, early ball, Joe Cole far side with Rosenior. Oh, he's got Gudjohnsen just inside him here. It's still Cole. And Zat Knight ahead of Gudjohnsen. Here's Glenn Johnson. Drogba. To Cole. Oh, it's a wonderful goal by Joe Cole. They don't come any better than that. 17 minutes gone. And Mourinho's side take the lead. And Joe Cole, who has doubled his goal output for this season, takes advantage of a defensive slip, but he was involved earlier in the move, actually. Came off Volz, Drogba to Cole. Just one little turn and a fabulous shot, bent inside the post. A goalkeeper with the quality of Van der Sar can't get near that. Chelsea 1, Fulham 0. Joe Cole, whose game has matured so much this season, proves it there with one stroke of the pen. This is Johnson. Duff. He and Cole have switched wings for a moment here. Damien Duff's cross. Here's Drogba. Fulham have given him too much space again. You can't give them half a yard at the moment. And that wasn't so far away. Had Van der Sar scrambling, did Drogba, down towards his right-hand post. This is Boa Morte. Rosenior made a good run. Oh, and a chance there for Brian McBride. Just made a run there as Rosenior pulled it back, but he scooped it over the bar. Rosenior back to Pembridge. Rossini, whose father played for Fulham and is now the manager of Torquay. That's Liam out on the left-hand side. Back to Pembridge. Oh, McBride near post. Oh, and Collins John just reminding Chelsea that this is no straightforward exercise. 2 in the box. The bounce actually just favoured Robert Hoot. Still some work to be done for Chris Coleman's team before they're sure of being in the Premiership next season. John couldn't hold it up now. Then there's a break on here for Chelsea. It's Drogba to Duff. Van der Sar has come to meet him. Did so very, very well. That art of goalkeeping where the body and the feet can play a part as well as the hands. Oh, and that slid through very, very nicely for Boa Morte. And I think there's a mistake there by Carvalho, and Collins John scores. Fulham have equalised. Boa Morte made it, and Collins John scored it. 40 minutes, and Carvalho, who played so well the other night, makes a really bad error in a one-to-one situation. It was really the defender's ball, you'd have thought, but by the time he'd lost it, it was too late for Peter Cech. And the championship is not clinched yet. Carvalho had the first touch, actually, but the strength there of Collins John to slide that ball underneath Peter Cech as well to make it 1-1. Well, I had the privilege of interviewing him on Football Focus earlier today. 80-year-old Roy Bentley, a survivor and indeed the captain of the 1955 Chelsea Championship side. He got a great reception at Stamford Bridge today, and he's at every home game. Jose Mourinho has made 2 changes. Arjen Robben, out for 14 games, is back in the first-team frame. And Jerzy Jarosik is also on. Joe Cole and Robert Hoot have been replaced. Here's Lampard. Oh, I tell you what, Arjen Robben is through on his return. Will he square it? He still could. Drogba in the middle with Gudjohnsen. Gudjohnsen! Offside, is he? Yes, he has to be. Here's Duff. Robben. Oh, through the legs of Volts. Oh, surely Lampard's there, and Chelsea are back in front, and it's Frank Lampard. 64 minutes, and they've regained the lead. Lampard, who scored in both games at Craven Cottage against Fulham earlier in the season, makes it 3 out of 3, but Arjen Robben, the supplier, having just come back from injury, and Damien Duff here, well, there's 2 of them on that side. Bit of a nightmare for Fulham, really, because Duff carried it. Robben slipped the ball through Volts' legs. It was perfectly laid on for the man coming from midfield, and Frank Lampard, a contender for Player of the Year, side-foots that one beautifully. Frank Lampard scores Chelsea's 100th goal of the season. He had a chance like that against Arsenal the other night, put it wide. Not today. Oh, look at the reaction on the bench. Mourinho. Chelsea have never quite put the game beyond their West London neighbours. Here's Rossini. Away from Thiago. Radzinski. Peter Cech turned that over. It was a good fingertip save by the goalkeeper from Thomas Radzinski. Just a reminder to Chelsea that this has not been anything like the comfortable victory that some might have expected. This is Robben. It won't be a penalty. No, it won't be. Alan Wiley was in a good position and he immediately shook his head. Thiago is still arguing about that as he runs back. He was the man that went down. Boa Morte. Malbranc. Is there still something unexpected coming Fulham's way? I don't think so. It's Thiago to Gudjohnsen. There's something decisive coming Chelsea's way, and it's the 3rd goal. Ida Gudjohnsen stayed onside and finished smoothly. It's his 15th of the season, and it ties up the points here for Chelsea. And it more or less, dare I say, ties up the championship. Fulham had committed players forward in an attempt to get back to 2-2. They had a player on the floor, in fact. Good Johnson is just onside here. He carries it well. Van der Sar comes out. But it's a nice, tidy finish. And it's Chelsea's 101st goal of the season. And it gives them a 3-1 lead here with 3 minutes to go. That'll do, Mourinho. And it'll also do for the owner. Here's McBride. Fulham get a free kick. In the 90th minute, foul on John. It's Boamorte and John either side of the ball here. And John takes. Oh, what a good save by Peter Cech. It's never over until it's over. Stoppage time, and he holds his head. It was a good strike by Collins, John. It may even have taken a slight deflection, but whatever happened to the ball in flight, Peter Cech is away to his left for a fabulous save. Oh, there's a chance there for McBride. He wasn't well marked. Well, a roar goes up because Chelsea are getting closer and closer. Victory here today over their West London rivals gives Mourinho's team one or two options now. Arsenal could slip up, or Tottenham could do Chelsea a favour Monday night and make it mathematically certain after 50 years. Or we might have to go to see Chelsea at Bolton next week, which would appeal to Good Johnson, no doubt. And even then it could be left until they play their next home game against Charlton in 2 weeks' time. Whichever way you look at it, Chelsea are on the verge of this second championship in their history, in their centenary year. The 100th goal scored by Frank Lampard, fittingly enough, and a final score at the Bridge of Chelsea 3, Fulham 1.
All the attention was on Chelsea today because obviously they're going for the title and they've almost won it now. But you know, we give them a scare today. We play very, very well, and I think 3-1 really reflects the way the game was. I thought our guys played very well, caused them a lot of trouble. You know, Jose's had to change it 3 times. He's put on all his substitutions, so you know, there are a lot of positives for us to take out of that game.
I think we won on mentality, on character, not on quality, not because we were better than the opponent. I think they played very well, and I think they should go home with a point. Would be fair for them.
One of the points he pointed out at half-time, he said, I know you're tired, boys, and I know that the legs are probably a tiny little bit heavier than they are usually, but I don't care. You have to win the game. After the game, you can sleep as long as you want. 3 good days to rest before Wednesday.
By the time bedtime comes around Monday night, as you well know, you may have a reason to extend the evening a little.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope Arsenal beat Tottenham. I like Tottenham. I like Tottenham. I always like Tottenham to succeed because it's a team I like. But I would prefer Arsenal to beat them.
That's extraordinary. It obviously means that you won't be able to celebrate the title yet.
That's what I want. I don't want to celebrate.
Where do you want to celebrate? Can you choose?
In Bolton.
It's nice in Bolton.
It's nice. I think if we are champions on Monday, maybe we lose in Bolton. That's my history about being champion. We are champion, the next game you lose. And I don't want to lose. I want to win.
Well said, Mr. Pearce. Before we leave you, let's take a look at the Barclays Premiership table. Chelsea are 14 points clear at the top. They'll be crowned champions if Arsenal fail to beat Tottenham on Monday. Next up for third place, Manchester United is a repeat of last weekend's semi-final against Newcastle. Everton are now 4 points clear of Liverpool and Bolton in the race for the final Champions League spot. Southampton replaced Norwich at the bottom, but the Saints can move out of the relegation zone with victory against Portsmouth. West Brom dropped 2 places, while Norwich's 3rd home win in a row lifts them up to 18th. Only goal difference separates the Canaries from Crystal Palace. So after 50 years, it could all be over in 50 hours. Jose, though, says he'd prefer them to win it next Saturday. Do you know what? So would we. Good night.